to the Lotus Focused Tea Party Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Paula.
And I am your guest, Megan Hampton, helping you live intentionally here with Dr. Paula.
And each week we will bring you insightful interviews, thought-provoking hot commentary on ADHD and executive functioning. And our goal is to provide you with the knowledge and insights to deepen your understanding of living and thriving with ADHD. So in today's podcast, we're exploring setting intentions by living intentionally. And our first question is, what is an intention? So define the word for us.
Intention is defined, I don't know the exact definition, but in my definition of intentions is dialing it down to the breath and slowing it down to know your why, to know the purpose, and also the result, whether that be a next day result, a 1 year result, a 5 year result. Just knowing the intention behind the actions taken.
Right. It's like a determined thought that has action behind it, action-packed.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so it's an attitude, and that has end results. It impacts our day and the functioning in our day. So why is this important? Why is it important to set intentions?
It's important to set intentions so that way we don't get so lost. We're still going to wander. I find it that wandering really is the best when you have a goal and you set intentions for that goal. Having those intentions dialed in, it leaves some leeway for flexibility, you know,
right,
for things to happen, but to still take action, regardless of whether the action you're taking is what you really want to do or going towards a goal. Just pretty much dialing it down and not having these huge expectations and limitations on a task that needs to be taken to achieve a goal. It doesn't have to be so grand and big all the time.
Right, right. And when I think of setting intentions, I think of something positive. So it's goal setting. So I'm an executive function coach, and so when I think of intentions, I think of mantras and positive affirmations and meditation. That's where we some of us will set those. And so, but they're positive thoughts. They're things that you want to accomplish. You want to happen, whether it's in your day, your week, your month, your year.
Yes.
And so is those positive thoughts. And it's really the beginning of those is a declaration even of those actions, those goals.
I love that declaration. I love that word, because having a declaration statement with the goals that you have is literally the fuel for your intention. You have this one intention to get to this goal, but a declaration statement for one particular goal, man, that sets that intention and that goal to a whole new level. Right,
it's words with impact.
Yes.
Like in the morning when I'm getting dressed, I'll listen to positive affirmations sometimes, and I'm looking in the mirror, I'm putting on my makeup, and I'm saying and declaring what I'm going to do, how my day is going to be. I'm deciding, making decisions.
Yes.
There's power in our words, and our words become our actions, right? So those decisions we make at the very start of our day can really impact the entire day. And so, how I walk out of my bathroom in the morning, right? And
you set the tone.
You set that tone. It's huge. And
how you walk out that bathroom is setting a whole tone.
Right.
Yes.
And you can do that before I even well in advance. So that 3-minute, intention setting, when I'm looking in the mirror and I'm saying those positive affirmations. And so,
in my course, I call that, and I like when I do coaching, I really love hitting mirror time. And that's what I call it. It's mirror time, because mirror time is for the morning, but think about mirror time on a full day scale.
Yes.
How many times do you go to the bathroom?
I know, right?
Endless. Or if you drink water,
you drink
fast.
Cheers to that. We need to make sure this is an intention right here. Drinking your water.
Okay, get them liquids in. Get the liquids in. Yes. And so when you walk past any mirror, man, when I first started walking past a mirror, even in a restaurant, now it can feel uncomfortable, but take that uncomfortable and turn it into something for you, your time.
Right.
It's not got nothing to do with anybody else that might see me. You're in a restaurant, they might see you, but they can't hear your thoughts.
Right.
So if you look in that mirror and you're just talking to yourself in your head, baby, ain't nobody in that room know what's going on. But you are. I will literally affirm to myself, especially going out to eat alone. Go out to eat alone, sit at the bar. I hope they have a mirror behind the bar, because if they do, oh, it's perfect.
Right. You know, and I've been in bathrooms, you know, like at restaurants, and they've had the words written on the mirror and it says, "You are beautiful."
Yes.
I love that. That's an intention. I mean, that is, yes, positive affirmation.
Yes.
And it's, you know, but we can do it for ourselves. We can, like you said, pass a mirror. You pass a mirror and say something positive.
Yes.
Because we are what our, you know, our thoughts are. We manifest that in our realities. And so if we're always putting those positive thoughts and intentions and goals in our head, right? And so that's going to be our life.
Yes. It's going to surround us. Out of nowhere, it'll start surrounding you.
Right.
Literally, like, random people will be like, "Oh, you look so great." Like, "Oh, you affirmed what I said this morning." Well, thank you too. You look good too. You know? And it's just, it's very magnetic, and the ripple effect that the universe will take those words and just ripple it in your day. Oh,
right. And everyone likes to look at their behaviors, like what they're doing, what they're not doing, what they're, you know, accomplishing and not, and they focus there. But the focus goes, it really should start way before that. It starts with intentions. It starts with our mindsets before we even get to the action. So if you're frustrated with, you know, let's say task initiation, getting started on something, you're feeling stuck and whatnot, I think it's critical important to go back to see what was in your head when you decided to do this, that very beginning, because I bet there was some challenges there with intention setting, right? And that impacts goal setting. It's like, you know, making that declaration of what are my goals? You know, what are my hopes and dreams and ambitions, and, you know, what do I want, you know, for myself today?
Yes.
Right? What are my expectations? And so that's critical. And it's literally it's easy to look at actions, but we need to go backwards, you know, if we're frustrated, to see, you know, the why behind it. Too. Yeah, the why behind it is always going to be those thoughts.
Yes.
Thoughts, you know, create, you know, those, you know, emotions, you know, they impact our actions, and so it's really essential. And
it's so subliminal too. It's very subliminal. When we, just like what you said, like, down to the intention, when you get down to the intention, you start to understand the behaviors and the reactions taken toward that task or whatever that may be. Yes.
Our thoughts are powerful, and that's what intentions really are. And so I want to talk a little bit about what are some various ways that we can set intentions. We've hinted at a few of them already. So, you know, looking in the mirror and setting our intentions. You know, I do it with positive affirmations in the morning. What are some other ways we can set intentions?
Writing it out.
Yes.
Writing it out. And I know a lot of times when I say that to people, immediately they think intense journal time. Like, oh my God, it takes time. I don't have time for that. I want to do this. I want to do that. Yes, I get it. But journal time does not always have to be on a pen and paper. That's ideal. Right. Pen and paper is very much so ideal, because there's nothing that beats that. But meet yourself where you're at. And if you're going from zero journaling and you want to start journaling, meet yourself where you are and start with your phone. You already have that in your hand. Right. You already have that in your hand. Open up a notepad instead of opening up a social media app.
Right. You don't have to talk. You don't have to sit there and write about it for 30 minutes. It can be 3 minutes.
It could be 3 minutes, because you can literally, nowadays, you can hit the little speak button and you can literally speak into a notepad and it'll type it for you. You don't technically have to write it out. You can speak it out. You can speak it out. It goes on a notepad. Right. And then when you have the thoughts and intentions to write, it'll come to you to naturally write. Just keep it in your head why you want to write, how you want to write, and speak it out. Literally put it on a notepad before you start doing writing, physical writing.
And there's a lot of power to writing things down. There's a lot of research behind that. And, you know, when we write things down, they're far more likely to happen. And so I want to talk about your ABCs of intentionality, because this is a great, you know, way to get your thoughts and ideas down on paper. And it's kind of a guided approach. So I want you to kind of talk about why you wrote this, And what is it all about?
So this is a part of living intentionally and having intentions and dialing in on those intentions and meeting ourselves where we are. So this is how I met myself where I was at. It wasn't in this pretty book. It was in a notepad on my phone initially. That's where it started. I went from A to Z when I would find myself frustrated. When I would find myself frustrated or in an emotion where I just didn't understand what I was feeling, I would list out words that were powerful from A to Z. And it was really a challenge to not stop and do something else. Because once you get to letter R and S and T, you're like, oh, and the letter that starts with unique and V and vulnerable, and you just start, you keep going, and it gets easier. So ABC intentionally is that dialing down, is that thought process of dialing down and saying, hey, I'm going to do this intentionally for me because I'm aware that I'm feeling a strong emotion. I'm aware that I can't get through this task. Right. So let me do something to help my mind find the correct choice of words to push me forward.
I really like is that it's based on the ABCs. It's really simple, and the pages are quick and easy, and I like that. So a lot of my clients don't have a very long attention span, including myself sometimes, and so it's like we need things quickly because they buy all kinds of planners, and they've owned everyone out there, and so oftentimes they don't work, and there's a lot to them. This is simple, and so I like that. And but it also, I like that another value is it forces your brain to stop with that emotion. It ceases that emotion and allows you then to do something else, redirect it into something more productive, just writing.
Yes.
And so stopping that negative thought, redirecting it into something that allows you to process. And I think through that process, ideas will flow.
Yes, it's a 3-step.
Unstuck.
Because you write it out. You can write it out in here because there are intense journal prompts, like the top 3 moments of your life thus far, like intense, like thinking about your whole life, your top 3. Oh my God, you gotta narrow it down, baby. But taking that emotion, coloring it out. If you can't find the words aren't coming to you. Color, relax your mind, and color on it. Color on it.
I love coloring.
Yes,
I don't do it well, but I like coloring.
What? I have evidence that shows otherwise.
I could never stay in the lines when I was a kid.
You didn't stay in the lines, but you did. You did so good. You did so good. This habitual.
I colored her book.
Yes, she sure did.
I think I see it.
There it is.
It's the Lotus. It's the Lotus.
Yes, and then I'm going to cover up her answers. The coloring part, literally just take yourself away from the thoughts and interrupt them.
Right.
Because
it allows you to brain dump too. To get all that stuff out, you had to put it on paper. I think sometimes when you can see your thoughts on paper, they transform themselves, and you're able then to make sense and come to better conclusions when they're out in front of you.
Yes.
And out of your head. I think we have so many things going on in our head. It's overwhelming. A lot of my clients are overwhelmed all the time by their life, and they lead very busy lives. And as information is coming in, there's no room and space for any of it. Getting things out of your head and putting on the paper is very valuable. And so this is a great little tool to help people really process. It's a processing, approach. And so this is a nice little way to set intentions. As
set the intention.
You get to write in there, you get to color, you get to interact with it, ways that helps your mind process and then come to some solid conclusions. Yes. And I think it also kind of it settles some of the busyness in our heads when it comes to decision making and our intentions. So I love it.
Because our decision making processes can be literally bombarded with advice or unsolicited advice.
Right.
Literally, people will just dump a whole story on us because of their experience. That's great, but we don't always have to be attached to the stories that we are given.
Right.
And a lot of times I think that's what people do. They hear stories from other people who had this experience, and then they read a book, and then, somebody else had that experience. Yeah, look at how many possibilities could come about.
Yes.
Grab those stories and have a sense of intention to use it, but not embark it on your life, not fully invest in it. Don't let it influence you, but don't let it completely invest in you where you're changing yourself because of another experience.
Right, and I think another value is, you know, because a lot of my clients, they have all these ideas and they're just floating around in their head. They're just ideas, they don't go anywhere. And so when they actually, when they start to write them down, suddenly they see the next step. Because oftentimes my clients get stuck on, what do I do?
Yes.
You know, they're a lot of them are ideas people. And so, but it's that action is where they fall. And it's like, what is the next step? But when we write them down, sometimes the next steps become very clear.
Yes.
And you don't need to be told, it's right there in front of you. The puzzle pieces kind of come together.
They do.
And so that's another really nice thing about really fleshing your thoughts out and, you know, using an intentional journal that focuses on intentionality. So that, and, you know, other ways, of course, to use to really practice, you know, setting intentions. Goal setting, you know, the top of your day, morning routines, like this can be built into a morning routine. That's one thing I always work with my clients on is morning routines. And that is when I think it's the most important time of the day to set your intentions at the top of your morning. And so,
do it in the bed.
Right.
Always gotta get out.
So prioritizing your goals, you know, and you can write it out, you can see those priorities a little bit clearer, right? And so, creating your to-do list for the day.
Yes.
Right, and so it all can be like integrated, and so I love that. So, what is is this your favorite way of setting your intentions? What are the ways and things that you use to set intentions?
Some other things that I do to set my intentions is my phone. I will be honest. I use my phone heavy on. I'm very big on task. Similar to so many other softwares, like you introduced me to one. What was it? ASUS, it's like one where you prioritize your task, and it was a whole like checklist. I loved it, but I actually you do, yeah. Asana, that's what it is. Asana.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That works for some people. Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, there are so many out there. You know, one I'm really like right now is Notion, but there's so many different. Ones out there, you know, they're all, you know, have strengths, weaknesses all on their own, depends on, you know, who you are and what you like to engage with. And some people like paper and pencil, right?
Yes.
And so
I do it similarly in the fact that I create one intention, one bold intention, goal, aka intention, heavy. And I say goal and intention interchangeably sometimes, because my goals have intense intentions.
Yes.
So they are interchangeable. They are very much the same thing. Yeah. It's an in-depth, interpersonal. It's almost like a person. If a goal were a person, the intentions is the soul to the person, and the goal is the outside.
Absolutely.
So that's how I
think intentions may become right before. Yes, they're interchangeable in some ways, but it's like the first part of a goal, right?
Yes.
And that first part of that goal comes from our soul.
Yes.
Connected to who we are. It still has that little umbilical cord to
us
in our inner self. And that goal is a reflection of that, right?
A huge reflection of it. So I literally bold task it, and then I will put small action steps.
Yes.
And the intentions behind those actions. Who's going to help me with that? What resources are in my life that I can do this? And I list that out. And I put it on a task board. So I'll put that on my phone. Sometimes I end up writing it out. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I literally just journal about it. And it's not really a pretty goal task list. It's a journal of the full intention behind the goal. And that is another way that I really address my intention.
I love that. I like to create check-ins too, because I think it's really easy to lose track of our goals and our intentions, because life is busy.
Yes.
It's very busy. So I like to check in periodically. I like the top of my week to check to make sure everything that's on my calendar. My calendar is where I keep all my goals, and you can see my intentions on my calendar. And sometimes I do day theming, you know, so I can hyper focus on a particular day, right? Where I want to accomplish a certain goal, and that's very much intention oriented there. But I like to do check-ins, and so top of my week, midweek, end of my week, as I wrap up, make sure I hit those goals, right? And so and then once a month, did I hit this month's goals? What are next month's goals?
Yeah.
What are my intentions with this month? With this my year, and so checking in, creating those little check-ins.
Yes.
Right? And I have check-ins in the morning, and so I think those are critical and essential. But there's different types of check-ins. So your check-ins in the morning are going to be a lot quicker. It's just your day, right?
Yes.
And so maybe the next day too, if you're looking ahead, and the week is for the week, and maybe the week after as well. So you're staying ahead. But
and there's one day where we do for the month.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And of course, everyone likes to do their New Year's resolution, right, for the year. And so
we got you doing that. It's about to be the 6th month. We're coming up on
April.
We're coming up on 6 already. So it's like prepping for that mid-year check on where our goals, where we are,
months
where
from the midpoint. Yes, Years go by really fast. So how quickly it feels like it was just January the 1st, and we're already almost in April. And 2 months before the mid-year, and it's like, where did the year go? So it's already, it's crazy. And so those check-ins are essential, because we can find ourselves at the midpoint of our year and we haven't accomplished what we want. And I think a lot of that is because there was a lack of intentions. And because people set goals all the time too, but there's no intention behind it. Those intentions is not solid. It's not coming from a place of conviction, of motivation. Because to me, intention versus goal, intention has a little bit more oomph, a little bit more motivation, like we said, a little bit more soul. And so it has more purpose.
Yes.
And that purpose is what propels us to get things done and to move forward. And, so it goes beyond a goal. And so our intentions, I think when we have intention behind our goals, we're more likely to get them done. We're more likely to act on them.
Very much.
And I think that's important. That's another value of setting intentions versus just setting goals.
Yes, 100%.
Now I want to tell everyone how you can find your work. But before we do, I want to kind of talk about maybe some 3 takeaways, 3 things that maybe we have talked about that we both feel that are essential when it comes to setting intentions and understanding, in regards to what intentions are and how to set those and what are important. What are 3 things you think?
From today's talk only?
Yes.
Ooh, okay. From today's talk only?
Or it could be any, actually.
Yeah, big. Let's go big. No, 3 takeaways from our conversation today, and what I loved really has to be the awareness of it. Mm-hmm. The awareness of the intentions. This right here, coming together to speak on how valuable our choice of words and how valuable our intentions, and how they literally help us achieve those long-term, those big goals.
Right.
How we literally went through the small steps and that big valuable step of literally getting to that intention. Just know your intention, even if you don't write it.
Right. They're goals with purpose.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Purpose and passion.
Oh my gosh,
purpose and passion. They're goals with purpose and passion.
I love peas. Oh, when I used to do ABC and 10, and I would go through, I loved peas. Like I would.
Me too. I have no bias, but
yes. Purpose. Look, peas just get better.
I know,
peas
right?
get better and better and better.
You always feel better after a good pee, right?
Yeah. And that's the truth. And that's the truth.
Oh, right.
Letting it out always helps, okay?
So the other thing, I think that was really...
What's your 3 takeaways?
Yeah, so besides the peas there, right? But also, understanding how important it is to accomplishing our goal, right? And so how important intentions are to accomplishing our goals. So when people are feeling stuck, when they're feeling unmotivated, check to see, if you set those intentions properly, if you did them at all. A lot of people skip right over that. They go straight to, setting the goal and trying to jump into the action. Yeah. And it's important for us to pause and reflect on the purpose and the passion behind it to up the ante, increase the motivation so that we have enough energy to follow through with our goals. And so I think that's really critical and essential. Understanding this is not something you want to skip over, not something you want to dismiss, and it's essential into the completion of the goal. Yes. Is setting that intention. Mm-hmm. And so because of where it comes from. It comes, from our motivations, our soul, and that is the energy we need to complete that goal.
Yeah.
So, what's one more thing? One more takeaway? What'd you say?
One more takeaway from today's conversation. I am going to stick to goal checking in on the goals, because I task it out, but I love reflecting back. It helps so much to look back at intentions that you have written out, and whether you write them on a computer, phone, journal.
Yes.
Reflecting on them,
yes,
they give them so much more value, like the care for them, because you're like, oh, that is why I do love that goal. That is why I'm pursuing this.
Checking in, absolutely. It's critical.
It does.
Because it's easy to forget,
yes.
right? And I think an easy way to do that is to create a habit around it. Mm-hmm. So, like in the mornings, I like to do positive affirmations. It's a daily morning thing, right? And so it's something I do every single day. And a day I don't do it, I know, I feel it. My day doesn't go as well. And so it's essential because I have develop a habit around it. Habits are things we do consistently. And when we are setting those intentions daily, those goals are far more likely to happen. And it's just like working out. I always use examples of working out because there's so many similarities there. When you are consistent with anything, that is going to be your life and your realities. That's the life you will live. So if you exercise every day, 5 days a week, you're going to look like somebody you're going to be fit, right? You're going to be healthy and fit. If you're putting that time and energy, the adequate amount of time and energy to, focused on your fitness, you're going to be a fit person, right? Yeah. And so if you focus on, growth, if you focus on, your goals and you put effort behind it, you put purpose and passion behind it, you're going to be a person of purpose and passion, and you're going to be hitting those goals. Yeah. And so
it's going to drive you forward.
Absolutely. So put your habits behind it, because habits, those check-ins are habits. Mm-hmm. And it's that consistency. Anything that, you want to accomplish, you have to find a way to automate it.
Yes. I will say automation of morning time and morning routines. I'm heavy on positive statements in the bed. Literally before I let my feet touch the ground, like I say 3 to 4, at least 3 to 4 times, at least 3 to 4 times, and it'll always be magical.
That lucid dreaming state when you're first waking up, I feel like my brain is just so calm, but also alert in other ways. It's vivid, the imagination, creativity, the ideas.
ABC intentionally. Dr. P got it. You can always right there. No, I'm just kidding. But I am sending it to her, so you can get it on her website. But you can also get this on Amazon.
Yes.
Amazon's a friend. Amazon is everybody's friend.
That's where I bought mine.
Just ABC intentionally, and there are actually 4 versions. I have 4 versions. I have a kids version. I have 3 versions that came before this, so there are some different versions, but make sure you get with the pretty colorful Lotus, okay? Pretty colorful Lotus. This is the most updated versions. The other versions that are on there, they're similar, but they're very simple because I didn't quite go into the depths of
Get the one with the color, and I love that you have one for kids, because it really does start at a young age. That's so important. And even like with my boys, I started early, helping them, teach that independence and help them, to learn some of these habits. Like, my youngest came to me today, and he's like, he wanted me to, pay just $10 for this productivity app, because he wants us to, write down everything that he's doing, is to keep track of it. I'm like, yes. That stuff starts early. It's not coincidence. He's at 16 coming to me and wanting to do this, on his own. You teach him early, and then that's what it looks like. Yes. And so I love that you're right. We start these things when they're kids, and because it's a lot harder. If I try to start him now, 16, it's a lot easier. When they're 5, 6,
in his vocabulary,
he's used to writing down their thoughts.
Yes.
Right.
I
love it.
Yes. So you can go on Amazon, and you can visit meganhampton.com.
Yes. All right, my Lotus Buds, thanks for joining us. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.